In the grand, often bewildering tapestry of Australian history, certain objects rise above their humble origins to become legends. We have Phar Lap's heart, Ned Kelly's helmet, and of course, the 1930 Australian penny. Now, you might be thinking, a penny? A single, solitary penny? I've got one of those stuck in my car's ashtray. And you'd be right, except you'd also be spectacularly wrong. The 1930 penny isn't just any old bit of bronze destined to be flicked at magpies. It is the undisputed king of Australian coins, a numismatic unicorn, a circular slice of history so rare it makes finding a politician who answers a direct question seem commonplace. This is a coin that can be worth millions. Yes, millions. For a penny, it's the ultimate underdog story, a tale of economic woe, accidental creation, and sheer dumb luck. Before we dive headfirst into the legend of 1930, let's set the scene. Imagine a time before contactless payments, before we simply tapped a plastic card and hoped for the best. This was the era of proper, physical money pounds, shillings, and pence. It was a beautifully complicated system designed to confuse tourists and school children alike. The penny was the workhorse of this system. It was a big, hefty bronze coin, the kind you could really feel in your pocket. From 1911, Australia had been merrily minting its own pennies at mints in Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth. They were churned out in the millions, year after year, facilitating the purchase of everything from a bag of boiled lollies to a copy of the local newspaper. These coins were as common as flies at a barbecue. But then came 1930. The world was in the grips of the Great Depression, a period so grim they named it Great. Australia was hit hard. The economy had ground to a screeching halt. Unemployment was soaring, and people were clutching their money, what little they had, with a desperation usually reserved for the last sausage roll at a party. In this climate of extreme penny pinching, pun absolutely intended, the demand for new coins plummeted. People simply didn't have the money to spend, so the government saw no reason to make more of it. The official word from the Melbourne Mint, the sole facility responsible for minting pennies that year, was clear. No new pennies were ordered, and therefore, no new pennies were made, officially. And that, right there, is where our story gets interesting. Because despite the official records, despite the economic logic, and despite the government's solemn declaration, a handful of 1930 dated pennies somehow slipped into existence. They weren't supposed to be there. They were ghosts in the machine. Monetary phantoms that defied all explanation. This accidental birth is the very cornerstone of the coin's legend. It wasn't created in a blaze of glory. It was likely born from a bureaucratic oversight or a quiet act of mischief. It's the numismatic equivalent of finding out your birth certificate was just a doodle on a napkin, which, frankly, makes you far more interesting. The 1930 penny is a testament to the fact that sometimes the most valuable things are the ones that were never meant to be. The Great Depression wasn't just a time of financial hardship, it was a complete societal reset. For the Australian Treasury, the logic was painfully simple. Why spend money making more money when nobody has any money to spend? It was a flawless argument. Consequently, the official order to the Melbourne Mint for the 1930 calendar year was a big, fat zero. Not a single penny was commissioned for circulation. The Mint's mighty presses, which had previously stamped out millions of coins with rhythmic efficiency, fell silent. The demand simply wasn't there. Australia was awash with pennies from previous years, and with belts tightened across the nation, those existing coins were more than enough to go around. It seemed 1930 would be a blank page in the history of Australian coinage. So if no pennies were ordered, how on earth did any get made? This is the central mystery, the who shot JR of Australian numismatics. The leading theory is less a grand conspiracy and more a tale of workshop routine. It's believed that a small batch of 1930 dated dies, the stamps used to strike the coin's image, were prepared as part of the Mint's standard procedure for the new year. Now here's the twist. One theory suggests that a few of these dies were used to test the machinery, or to strike a small number of coins for archival purposes. Another, more romantic theory, posits that a mint worker, perhaps wanting a souvenir, unofficially struck a few. The most plausible explanation, however, is that one of these 1930 dies was accidentally paired with a die from another year to strike a small run of coins for a bank order. This debate over their origin only adds to the coin's mystique. Were they legitimate proof coins, struck to a high quality for collectors and dignitaries? Or were they circulation strikes, ordinary coins that just happened to be made in secret and slipped into the wild? Experts lean towards the latter. The few known examples show signs of wear and tear, suggesting they actually spent time in people's pockets, jingling alongside their less distinguished 1929 and 1931 brethren. Imagine, for a moment, using a coin worth a house to buy a loaf of bread, completely unaware of its significance. It's a thought that would make any collector break out in a cold sweat. The truth is, we may never know for sure how they were made, and that ambiguity is a key part of their charm. The number of these phantom pennies is astonishingly small. While millions of pennies were minted in the years before and after, it's estimated that only around 3,000 of the 1930 pennies ever entered circulation. Of those, it is believed that only about 1,500 survive today, with the rest lost to time, buried in forgotten gardens, or melted down. This scarcity is the primary driver of its value. It's a simple case of supply and demand, except the supply is microscopic and the demand is monumental. Everyone in the collecting world wants one. It's the holy grail, the ultimate prize. Finding one is not just a matter of luck, it's a one-in-a-million event. A story you would tell your grandchildren, assuming they look up from their holographic brain interfaces for long enough to listen. So what does this mythical beast of a coin actually look like? Well, at first glance, it looks like a penny. I know, shocking. It doesn't glow in the dark or whisper stock tips. It's a humble disc of bronze, measuring 30.8 millimeters in diameter and weighing a solid 9.4 grams. The metal composition is a standard mix for the era, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. It's the kind of coin that could easily be overlooked in a jar of old change, which is precisely how many of them were discovered decades after they were minted. The design itself is a classic of the period, a familiar face to anyone who's ever rummaged through their grandparents' drawers. On the obverse, or the head side, you'll find a crowned and robed bust of King George V facing left. This portrait was the work of Sir Bertram McKennell, an Australian sculptor who had the honour of designing the effigy for the king. Around the edge is the Latin inscription, Georgives 5D G Brit Omn Rex FD Ind EMP, which is a fancy way of saying George V, by the grace of God, King of all the Britons, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. It's a mouthful, and it's a reminder of Australia's place within the British Empire at the time. The king looks suitably regal and perhaps a little tired, as if he knows his face is about to be stamped onto millions of bits of metal. Flip the coin over to the reverse, or tail side, and you'll find the uniquely Australian part of the design. It features the simple word, 1 penny, framed within a circle, which is itself nestled between two scrolls. At the top, you'll see the word Australia, and right at the bottom, the all-important date, 1930. This design, created by W.H.J. Blakemore, is clean, clear, and functional. There are no kangaroos or emus here. This was a coin for serious business. The famous Indian head feature seen on some later pennies is also absent. It's an elegantly simple design that places all the focus on that crucial 4-digit number at the bottom. The discovery of the 1930 penny was a slow burn. It wasn't until the 1940s that collectors even realized it existed. Rumors began to circulate about a penny with the impossible 1930 date. Coin catalogs from the era listed it with a question mark, unsure if it was real or just a numismatic ghost story. Then, one by one, they started to turn up. A schoolboy would find one in his change. An observant bank teller would spot one in a roll of coins. As each one was verified, the legend grew. By the 1960s, the hunt was on, and the 1930 penny became a household name, the subject of newspaper articles and frantic searches through piggy banks across the country. It was a treasure hunt that anyone could join. Naturally, where there is immense value, there are also scoundrels. The astronomical prices fetched by the 1930 penny led to an inevitable cottage industry of forgeries. Creating a fake is, unfortunately, not as difficult as one might think. The most common method involves taking a penny from a different year, usually a 1938 or 1939 penny, and carefully altering the last digit into a zero. Another more nefarious technique is to use a genuine 1930 penny to create a new casting mold. These fakes can be surprisingly convincing to the untrained eye, leading to countless stories of hope followed by crushing disappointment. Many an Australian has excitedly presented a 1930 penny found in a tin, only to be told it's just a cleverly doctored 1935. So how do the experts, the Sherlock Holmeses of the coin world, spot a real one? They employ a range of techniques, examining the coin with the precision of a forensic scientist. Firstly, they look at the date itself. A genuine 1930 penny has specific characteristics in the shape and alignment of the numerals, particularly the 3 and the 0. Forgers often struggle to replicate these minute details perfectly. Secondly, they check for tooling marks or scratches around the date, which are telltale signs of alteration. An even more sophisticated method involves examining the denticles, the little tooth-like markings around the coin's rim. The dies used in 1930 had unique flaws and alignments, and a real coin will match the known die markers of other authenticated examples. The value of a genuine 1930 penny is, to put it mildly, staggering. It all depends on its condition, which is graded on a scale from good to proof. A good coin, one that has clearly been in circulation and is quite worn, might fetch around $30,000. That's for a coin in the worst possible collectible condition. As the quality improves, the price skyrockets. A very fine example can sell for over $100,000. And for the handful of pristine, uncirculated or proof examples that exist, the sky is the limit. Record-breaking auction sales have seen these top-tier coins sell for over $1 million, with one particularly superb specimen fetching $1.15 million in 2019. This makes it, gram for gram, one of the most valuable objects on the planet. The intense collector interest in the 1930 penny is a phenomenon in itself. It's not just a coin, it's the pinnacle of an Australian collection. Owning one is a badge of honor, a sign that you have reached the zenith of the hobby. Auctions featuring a 1930 penny become major events, attracting media attention and fierce bidding from passionate collectors, investors, and even museums. The excitement is palpable. Each sale sets a new benchmark and reinforces the coin's legendary status. It's a self-perpetuating cycle of rarity and desire. The more it sells for, the more people want it, and the more it becomes a symbol of ultimate exclusivity in the collecting world. The 1930 penny has transcended the world of numismatics to become a genuine piece of Australian cultural folklore. It's a story that has been passed down through generations. Grandparents told their children to check their change, and those children told their own. It represents the idea of a hidden treasure, the notion that incredible fortune could be lying dormant in a dusty jar or buried just beneath the surface. It embodies a sense of hope and possibility, a lottery ticket from a bygone era. The phrase "as rare as a 1930 penny" has even entered the Australian lexicon as a way to describe something incredibly scarce, placing it alongside hen's teeth and honest politicians in the pantheon of rarities. More than just a cultural touchstone, the coin is a powerful historical artifact. It serves as a tangible link to one of the most challenging periods in Australia's history. Holding a 1930 penny, or more realistically, looking at a picture of one, is to connect with the Great Depression. Its very existence, born from economic collapse and uncertainty, tells a story of hardship and resilience. It reminds us of a time when a single penny had real purchasing power, and when the nation's economic future was far from certain. The coin is a history lesson you can hold in your hand, a silent witness to the struggles and quiet dramas of the 1930s. It teaches us about economics, minting technology, and the social fabric of the time. The excitement it generates is not just about its monetary value. It's about the thrill of the hunt and the allure of the story. Every few years, a news story will emerge about another 1930 penny being discovered in an old house clearance or an inherited collection, reigniting the public's imagination. These stories capture our collective fascination with chance and discovery. They remind us that history is not just in books, it's all around us, in the objects we inherit and the things we overlook. The 1930 penny is the ultimate proof that ordinary items can have extraordinary stories and that a little bit of metal can carry the weight of a nation's history. In conclusion, the 1930 Australian penny is so much more than just a rare and valuable coin. Yes, its scarcity, born from the depths of the Great Depression and shrouded in the mystery of its creation, makes it Australia's most sought-after numismatic prize. But its true worth lies in its story. It is a symbol of a pivotal moment in history, a cultural icon that represents the dream of finding hidden treasure, and a testament to how an accidental anomaly can become a national legend. It is the king of Australian coins, not just because it is worth millions, but because it captures a priceless piece of the Australian identity. A story of accidental success, quiet resilience, and enduring fascination. It is, quite simply,